Hi there, this is Smart Haddad here again. In this lecture, I have to speak about the MikroTik application that is providing for us, which is named MikroTik Mobile App, from where we can get connected to the MikroTik router from our phone in order to do some work on the MikroTik router in case we are not sitting in our office. So again, we have to think of the network management, that to be able to manage our network, we need to get access to the MikroTik router first to be able to make the configuration or make the troubleshooting or monitoring as well. So that's why it's very important that we can use the MikroTik mobile application that is provided by MikroTik on our smartphones, and I'm going to show you in this lecture how you can download it and how you can use it from your smartphone. Actually, MikroTik can provide this application on two types of phones. On the Android, so for example, if you have Samsung, it has an Android operating system, you can use the application from MikroTik, and also on the iOS, which is for Apple. So if you have, for example, iPhones, you can also use this application. So I'm going to show you on both phones what is the difference on the things on the application. So it's not a very difficult lab what we are going to do, but it's also nice to see what you can do from the Android and also what you can do from the iPhone. So as you can see here, we have 8 points to do. Let's start directly with the first point and see what we have to do. Point number 1, check if your MikroTik router is on a version higher than version 6. So the application, which is the MikroTik mobile application, works on the MikroTik routers which are on the version higher than version 6. Of course, nowadays all the routers, they are working on version 6 plus, but some maybe people are still using the version 5. And in case you are using version 5 or the version older than version 5, which I think you shouldn't do that, but in case, then you cannot use this application. So it's very important that your MikroTik has a version over the version 6. And in my case, I only have now one router having wireless, and I have the phones. So I'm just going to see how I can connect to the MikroTik on the application from my phone. But let's check first if the router is on version over 6. So we go to Winbox, and you can see here the version is 6.46.5, which is now the latest version. Point number 1 is done. Point number 2, install MikroTik Mobile App on your Android phone. So before MikroTik had released the MikroTik Mobile App, they had another application which was on beta version, which is just for testing, but it was also able to be downloaded and installed on the phone. And this application was called Tik App. So now there is no more the Tik app, there is the real version from MikroTik, which is called MikroTik Mobile App. So now we need to install it on the phone. So installing the application on the phone is like when you install any application. You have to go to Google Play and to search for it and then to download it. So let's go to the Android phone. So I have here this Android phone. I can show it to you from here. And let's go directly from here to the application. So I have to go now to store, and from here I have to search for, we can write MikroTik. So once you write MikroTik, you can see mobile app, this one. You click on it, and this is the first one. You can see this is the MikroTik mobile app. So let me just move it so it doesn't come on me, the picture. All right, so I click on it, and I will say here install. And we have to wait until it is downloading, then it's going to be installed on the phone, and then we are going to see what we have to do in the upcoming points. Point number 2 is done. We have installed the MikroTik mobile application on the phone. Now we need to open the application, and can you discover MikroTik devices and connect to them via IP and MAC address? So let's go back to the phone and see what we have now. So as you can see, the application is showing up here in the corner down, the MikroTik one. So I click on it. So they're saying, okay, what do you see on the Discover? But before I speak to the Discover, you can see that you can from here log in to the MikroTik router, just putting the address, the username, and the password. You can also click on to see what is the password. You can save that. So if you click on save now, so now you see on save there is nothing. But if you want, I can just click here, save. So I save this credential, and I will say save. Now, if I go to saved, you can see that this MikroTik with its credential is being saved over here. All right. Now they said on the discovered. So if I go to the discovered, So you can see that I have now 3 routers showing up from the neighbor discovery. And the one that it has the wireless is 10.0.0.1. So this is the one that I want to connect to it. So they are saying, are you able to connect to it via IP or MAC address? Because you know from Winbox you can connect to a router on the IP but also on the MAC address. So if I click on it, here we go. We see that it's saying connect to device using IP recommended or MAC address. So that means I can connect either from IP or from MAC address. Alright, that's something on the Android is possible that you connect from IP or MAC address. But we are going to see on the Apple if it's possible. So if it's possible to connect IP or MAC address from the app. Point number 3 is done. Point number 4, connect to the MikroTik router via the app. What do you see? Alright, let's again open the phone and put it here so you can see what I'm doing. So we go again to the application. So this is the application of MikroTik, and then from here they say connect to the router. So the router is 10.0.0.1. We can go to discover and from here directly connect to it. I can say I want to connect to IP. Alright, so you can see it over here. You can also go to save because I saved it, connect to it, and then you have everything here. But now let's connect to it. So I will say connect. So you can see it's really nice. From your phone, you can connect to the MikroTik router to do some work. So what do you see over here? You can see that you see the CPU, the memory, the uptime, this some information about the router. You can see that you have internet on Ethernet 1, and it shows you the bandwidth on upload and download, and also some graphing. It shows what is the WLAN and the SSID, which is in this case MikroTik Home. And you can also use the kit control from here to port forward. And also if you go to here to other settings, so you can see you can have here, for example, if you want to reboot or shut down, change the password. Now and reset the configuration, that's something you can do it from here. Alright, so look, this is really nice. And if you want to log out, this one on the you can see this one over here. If you click on it, then you are logged out. So if I click on it, you can see disconnect, and I will say yes. Alright, so you see I can log out. Now let's connect again. Now if you want more configuration to do than that, you have to click, you see this one over here. So you click on it, and you really have almost all the things that you can do on the MikroTik router. Like for example, you can go to the interface. You can see, for example, the interfaces that we have. So you can see those are the interfaces that's showing up over here. Maybe it's not very clear for you on the video, but yeah, that's how it is. If you want to go back, if you want to go to IP, you go to address. These are the IP addresses. If you want to add another IP, you just make plus, and you write here the new IP that you want to put. For example, let's put an IP like 10.30.20.10, and then I make it /24. So this IP, and here I have to say on which interface. So I can say I want to put it on interface, for example, Ethernet 5, and I will say here save. So we can see that this IP has shown up over here. You can see it, this one. If you want to remove it, you just click on that and then you say delete. So as you can see, you can do almost really a lot of configuration that you want from your phone. In case you're not in the company and you suddenly have a problem, you can just do that by going to the application, and then you can do the changes you want, or the troubleshooting, or the monitoring. Point number 4 is done. Point number 5, do you have a terminal available? So we are still on the Android, and we have to see if we have terminal available. That means to write the command line. And if yes, make ping to 8.8.8.8. Alright, let's go again to the Android phone. And from here, I will go again to new. You see this, we have here new terminal. So if I click on it, here we go. We have now a terminal. Yeah, we can also do some command line from the phone. So they say if you have terminal, ping to 8.8.8.8. So I'll write ping, then 8.8.8.8, and then I will say here done. And here we go. We have the ping and it is working without any problem because the router is connected to the internet. Now how to stop it? You have to click on Control and see. Just like you do on the router. And you can see now the result. It has sent 11, received 11, no packet loss, so packet loss 0. And you can see also here the how much was the latency. So that's also something nice on the Android, that you have the command line and the terminal. Now on the iPhone, we have to check if this is possible, that we have also the terminal on the iPhone. All right, so that's all I want to show you about the smartphone of the Android. So on the Android, you can see that we can have terminal, we can connect to IP and MAC address. We have to see if this is the same on the iPhone now. Point number 5 is done. Point number 6, check the same app on the iPhone iOS. All right, I have another phone with me now, which is iPhone. And let's also have a look on the iPhone. So I will open this one. So here is the iPhone. All right. So I already have, as you can see, the MikroTik is already installed there. So you can see it in the corner down on the right. So let's go to it. So I click on it, and here it asks for a passcode. I have a passcode, which I put it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actually. Yes, so now you can see that this looks almost the same. So if I open side by side the Apple and the Android phone, and I will log out from the Android. So now we have, this is on the left is the Apple, and on the right is the Android. So you can see they are looking similar. So I connect to the Android, and let's connect also on the Apple. So I just put the password of the router. And now I'm connecting, and let's have a look. So you can see it's almost the same what you see on the Android and what you see on the Apple. Okay, so it's almost the same from this side. Now, if we want to, for example, go to let's say log out from the Apple again, and if we want to check if we can discover, and yes, we can discover, but on the discover, if I click on this one 10.0.0.1 to connect to it, it doesn't say that you can have a MAC or IP, while on the Android, if I go back and to discover and I click on the one, so let's go to this one, and here it will say to you, you want to connect IP or MAC. While on the iPhone, if I click on it, directly it takes me to the IP. So that's one of the things which is different between the Apple and the Android. But apart of that, if you just connect again to the Apple, so you can see that it looks similar to the Android. So yeah, we see that here quick setup, internet, and then here also showing some traffic. The CPU is almost the same. But also if we go down, here we have WLAN, and here maybe we have file manager, which is more, and other settings on the smartphone. And if I go to other settings on the Android, so we can see that also it's almost the same. So let's keep those open, and then let's see what we have to do in the upcoming point. Point number 6 is done. Point number 7, can you discover the MikroTik devices and connect to them via IP and MAC? So on the iOS, or on the iPhone, yes, we can discover them, but we cannot connect to the MAC. We have to connect only to the IP, which is different from the Android. So this point is done. Point number 8, do you have terminal available? So also we have to check if we can have terminal available on the iPhone if we want to write some command line. So let's check. I'll go to the iPhone now, and from here I have to go to here, this one. So you click on this one over here, which is for the settings, and if I scroll down, normally if we go on the Android here and we scroll down, we see that we have new terminal, which is under log. But here under log, there is no new terminal. So you see that if you have an iPhone, you cannot have the access to a new terminal. While on the Android, I just click on new terminal, and here we go. I have this one. On the iPhone, you don't have. But the rest is almost the same. So the rest, if we can have a look. So we have here start with Capsman, interface, wireless, bridge, switch, mesh, IP, routing, system, queue, .1x. So almost everything what we have on the Android, you have also on the iPhone, but the only is that you don't have the new terminal. So those are the main two differences that we have between the iPhone and the Android. Now someone can say, well, shall I buy a phone which is Android in case I want to have access to the terminal? Well, I would say that normally if you want to use this application, you shouldn't use it for heavy configuration and troubleshooting. You should really have a PC or laptop to do that work. This is something just like as a last resort. In case you don't have access at all to any laptop or to any PC, then in this case, you can use the application on the phone. So I don't think that it's really important that you should have the terminal. Of course, it's nice if you have it, but I don't think it's very important to have the terminal on the phone. Point number 8 is done. And with this point, I have showed you about the MikroTik Mobile App, which is available. And you should remember that your router should have a router S version 6 plus. Okay, so anything before that, this doesn't work for you. And also I showed you the two differences between the iPhone and the Android. So they are very similar to each other. The only difference is that you cannot connect from the smartphone of the iPhone. You cannot connect to the MAC address to the router. So in case you don't have IP connectivity, then you don't have MAC address connectivity. You connect to it. And the other difference between the iPhone and the Android is that you cannot also have a terminal. So you don't have terminal if you are using the iOS, like iPhone. And in this case, on Android, you have the terminal if you want to use it for your configuration or troubleshooting. So this is what I wanted to show you in this lecture. I hope it was informative for you, and I will see you in the upcoming lecture.